Hi guys, this is Cindy from Part-Time Permies, and we are in the greenhouse about to start planting some seeds. Now technically I did actually start a few last weekend. It's been fairly cold and cloudy this last week, so nothing's actually started yet. I did have the seed tray sitting out here with some cold hardy plants, but you really kind of need close to in the 40s to germinate, and let's see, right now it's 37 degrees in here, so not quite reaching germination temperatures as our highs even yet. So I just moved those seeds inside. I'll show you that setup in a minute. But what I wanted to do was start some seeds, but I haven't really set up to make shelving space or a workbench space to start seeds. So that's what I'm going to start with. We're just going to make a space using our ladder, which is one of those that folds multiple directions. So I have it set up waist high. I'm just going to put some boards on it and then we'll get going here. I also have a couple sawhorses, so I can set a couple boards on that as well if I need more space later. But this should work for a workbench. What I did before I even started any of this was, of course, I am reusing containers from last year. They are plastic containers, but I figure if I reuse them over and over again, we're okay. But if you reuse them, you really do need to wash them. So for my onions, my leeks, and those sorts of seeds, I don't want to put them in soil blocks. The growth of the root might break apart the blocks, so we'll use the plastic containers primarily for those. The other advantage to the plastic containers is that they don't dry out quite as quickly. I am going to be out of town for a week, so I might have someone check on them once in a while, but I don't want to have to worry about a daily misting. So we're going to get these going, and then the next set of seeds we'll probably do in soil blocks. First thing we'll do is set up a modified soil mix from the Elliott Coleman mix. I don't have compost. Everything in compost is kind of frozen outside right now. Don't have soil from outside, so I do have some organic potting mix, which I'll use. Basically, I'm just going to use, that's about a quart for my measurements. All my measurements. Actually, what I'll do is I'll link the video for the soil block mix downsized right up here. So if you're interested in how to do the Elliott Coleman soil box, please follow that link. That also includes the proportions you need for the different materials. But basically I have a pre-mixed blend of base fertilizer that I use. That is pretty much 1 part green sand, 1 part rock phosphate, or you can use colloidal phosphate, and blood meal as well. So we fertilize our soil with that. I do have underneath this, I do have a bag of peat, a bag of organic soil, potting soil basically, and a bag of vermiculite. So what I'm going to do first is take 3 quarts peat, 3 quarts of my soil, which you can do a mix of compost and soil is ideal, but I don't have compost, so 3 quarts of my soil and then 2 quarts of vermiculite, and then mix that all together and add 1/3 of a cup of your base fertilizer mix. You also want to add into that a little bit of garden lime. It's pretty much just about 2.5 tablespoons of that to your mix. You hear the wild geese coming back. We do get some here year-round that come from Canada, but most of ours fly pretty far south. And they're definitely flying north again, so time to start planting. So, kind of a couple cool things I have here. One is a perennial leek. So we're going to, I got this from Lily House from our permaculture class. I'll put the link for Lily House below in the description. They have a lot of fun information on their webpage, and they do classes throughout the year on permaculture, obviously, but also herbalism stuff and other things as well. And then from trip down to Indiana from another farm, we ended up getting some onions. So I will definitely start those in here. I do have some regular American flag leeks from MI Gardener. We have some yellow onions. We have some Tokyo long white onions. We have some crisp, a whole bunch of onions. A couple of things of Tokyo onions actually. So one from Burpee, one from MI Gardener. I think the ones from Burpee are kind of old. Some of these I will just put in a flat, so I'm trying to separate those out. And some of these are more bulbing onions. So the yellow onions I will plant in the bigger containers, and then we will transplant them as needed. And hopefully get them out to the garden in not too long. 4 flats of onions, and we'll put the leeks and the yellow onions in these. So that'll give me 2 rows each here. Let's fill them up with soil. So let's do 2 rows of perennial leeks, 2 rows of American flag leeks, and 2 rows of the hybrid yellow onions from Johnny. Not sure how these are going to do. These are Johnny seeds. They're quite old. They're a yellow onion, so we're going to overseed these quite a bit. So we just water these and then we'll be done with this set. Okay, so we're going to do the flats next. The celery in one flat, and we're going to do celeriac in the other flat. For those of you guys who don't know, celeriac is a root of the celery, but it's a plant that's selected for a larger root, so you can eat that as well. And we will do 1 flat of each. Okay, so with this, these are all fairly old seeds. A couple of them are a couple years old. The third one's maybe about 1 year old, so not sure about the germination rates. Again, we're working with the old seeds this year. We may buy a few extras, but we'll see where it goes. So what I'll do on the first flat, I'll start with celeriac. So you can do about 6 seeds per inch and about 1/8 of an inch deep. So I'm just gonna make some rows in my flats. Just barely cover them up. Okay, so the next one is going to be all celery. Again, the seeds are old, so the Johnny seeds from a couple years ago. But we'll use them up instead of buying new ones at the moment. So Same exact thing. So make some rows. Now these are pelleted, so they're going to be easier to see. But it may mean that they're not going to last and may not germinate as well because pelleted seeds tend to go bad faster. But we're still going to use them. See how they do. I did not do a germination test on these. This will be the germination test, and we'll see if we get celery this year. Okay, so let's move these inside and put them under some lights. Now celery and celeriac need about 70 degrees to germinate, so I'm actually going to put them on a heat mat. The rest of these should be okay at room temperature inside. It's just a little too cold in the greenhouse still to do it here. Okay, and the last thing we put into some bigger pots were some Italian basil and some cilantro, just for indoor use for the rest of the spring, and we'll have to start more for outdoor use later. But that should wrap it up for now. Thanks for watching. We'll see you with our next video. Just setting a bad noise. Dang it. With this row, and then we'll be